Can you unpack some of those inflection points in your business? So the idea of building a second product. I know a lot of founders that I've spoken to, when they get to usually one to $2 million in revenue, that's when they hit their first plateau. And it's usually because the marketing channel that got them there, they found one marketing channel that worked and they executed on it, and now they're starting to tap that one dry, and they need to
Right.
figure out a different marketing channel in order to continue growing. But what are some of those inflection points that you've noticed as you've grown Time Doctor?
I
What
think
were they? When were they? What did you do to push past them?
I think for me, it was definitely a million ARR was around. That was a big inflection point for us. That was really kind of product market fit, and probably today I would say that maybe that number needs to be a little bit higher in terms of product market fit. But I don't have that type of direct experience. It's just what I'm hearing from other founders that are starting earlier. Once you get to once you get to about 5 million, that's when you need to really start to understand delegation. And so you need you need VPs at 5 million. And that means you basically have to fundamentally rewrite. I like to use the org chart size. So maybe you're super capital efficient at 5 million and you only have 5 people in the company, then you don't need that. But I would say there's a sociological number called the Dunbar number, which is 100 to 150 people is essentially your social net, your personal friends, people that you would interact with. If you saw them at a restaurant, you would go up and talk to them and possibly invite them to have dinner with you. And so once you surpass your Dunbar number in a company, that's a massive rewrite of the company. That's probably the most difficult transition because no matter how much you try, you cannot stop those people from being a number. So once you get past 150 people, you always want to be seen as the guy that spends the extra time interacting with employees inside of the organization. And if you do that, you're going to run the business into the ground. You fundamentally have to say, I am now empowering an HR team that understands the mission, vision, values of the company and truly is able to hire people at scale that meet those requirements so that we can, as an organization, get to 500 seat count as an example. We're at about 200ish right now, and that was really where we're coming out of that transition. And the funny thing about COVID was we entered that transition at 100 and we hired a whole bunch of people, and then we had to let a whole bunch of people go because we just did not build that properly. And what I mean by that is mission, vision, values. Go into a room of your team, of your employees. If you're remote, go to a company retreat. If you have an office, get everyone in the office, get everyone to close their laptops and hand out pieces of paper and say, pop quiz, what's the mission of the company? Please write it down. And also say, these are completely anonymous. You don't have to put your name at the top. Don't worry about it. This is a measurement of the executive team's ability to communicate the mission, vision, values of the organization to you. So, what's the mission? What's the vision? What are the values? The average organization that I've tried this on gets about a 23% success rate. And so the last one that we tried, we got 86, which was great for us. But we probably started around 40 and then got to 86 after multiple iterations. And there's a control bias there because obviously sometimes they know that I'm going to pull this from time to time on them. But if an employee does not know why they're there, you have a big problem as a company and you cannot scale past that point, in my opinion. So, I could tell you a whole bunch of other strategies that wouldn't that would kind of maybe help 1 or 2%. That's the big tamale. That's the thing that's really going to move the needle for you. Is why are people excited about working in this company? Why are they working here for less money when they could go somewhere else and make more money? It's this, right? And I think that's probably the big thing that you see with a lot of lack of loyalty in the valley is they just don't care about what we're doing, right? It's like if we don't really care, you need to find the people that drink the Kool-Aid. We also we ask negative questions in the interview process. So as opposed to asking alignment questions, we ask de-alignment, disalignment questions, which is so, our company, our mission is to empower the world's transition towards remote work. We're really passionate about remote work. It's one of our core values. But we also understand that you can't just do work remotely. Sometimes you have to come into the office. So are you willing to come in like 2 to 3 days per week to an office just so that we I want to be able to make sure that you understand that you're probably going to have to come in a couple days per week, and I want to know if you're okay with it.
This feels like a trap, Liam.
Yeah, so the people that say, "Oh yeah, no problem," out of the mix. We don't need them. They're not drinking the Kool-Aid. The people that are like, "Wait a minute. I don't really want to do that. I thought that I was signing up for this and you're telling me it's this other thing." And so that's an example of just like those you want if someone disagrees with you in a job interview, you want to hire those people. Those people are number one A players. They have multiple offers available to them. And then secondarily, they know that the long-term fit is what they really need, right? We don't want people to be in the company for 6 to 12 months. We want them to be in the company for years. So aligning them towards that is really important.
Does that play into accountability? So I imagine the kind of person who is going to push back in a job interview and say, "Well, hold on, this is not what I thought we were talking about." I know, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, but a lot of people, when they start hiring remote employees, one of the biggest fears they have is, well, I'm not looking over their shoulder. I don't know if they're working when they say they're working. How do I make sure that the work is getting done? How do I know they don't just have some other job and they're doing that, while I'm not paying attention to them as well? Like,
Yeah,
does
so
it come down to the people that you hire? Is it using a product like Time Doctor to?
it's a combination of all of those things. So I'd say Time Doctor definitely is one of those things to keep that type of accountability on both sides. But then also, we have a structure where everyone in the company has a quantifiable longitudinal number that they must reach. So, is it the amount of podcasts that I go on? Is it the leads generated from podcasts, as an example? Is it the amount of press hits that I get in the month? Is it the amount of people that I interact with at a conference? Is the amount of books that I give away, right? Whatever that is, it's got to be quantifiable longitudinal number, and then we've got to be able to identify that that number feeds into our core metrics that generate more revenue for the business. So if you're hitting those particular numbers, you're good. So we have green, yellow, red, right? It's like you're within 80% plus, you're green, that's fine. 60 to 80, you're yellow, and then below that, you're red. 90% of the management team's time is spent on red. We don't care about green. Do whatever you want. So if you don't work at all, but you're hitting your target, number one, we identify, is this a difficult target? Like, did we actually miscalculate the target that you were supposed to be hitting? Usually your success rate should be about 75%. So if you have four hard numbers, you should really be failing at least one of those to be successful, or to be pushed in the right direction, or pushed just enough. And then all of our time is spent on reds. Where's that time being spent? Why is there a misalignment there? How can we rewrite the ship as quickly as possible? And we work on that quarterly. So if you don't have that number, then you can't measure that person. And the thing that's wild is almost all remote companies operate that way before the pandemic. So all remote work companies have at their core what I like to call asynchronous management, which is the ability to be able to consume information without necessarily having the people live in that conversation. So I would listen to a recording of this podcast is an asynchronous way of consuming this information as opposed to being right in the meeting, as an example. And even just writing comments on the YouTube video, which I could respond to when it's most opportunistic for me to be able to respond to your question if you're listening to this video. That's asynchronous management. And in that, you have to have a longitudinal quantifiable number in order to be able to have that type of a measurement, because the platform is the manager, not the individual person that's assigned to you. And that's a big differentiator with most asynchronous orgs. They don't really understand that it's the system that's the manager, it's not the individual.
Hey, it's Ryan here. If you liked that video, please click the like and subscribe button somewhere down there and check out the full interview right over here. Go on, click it. You know you want to.